So we're back here with 5.2, I think it is now. Yeah, 5.2. Um, what's funny is I'm actually recording this while I am rendering out 5.0. I'm about to actually start editing 5.1. I couldn't stay away. I took an hour break. In fact, I actually recorded this already. I've solved so going into this little preface, I've solved this already, but when I recorded it, I had my mic muted the entire time, and it was extremely embarrassing. So I'm going to do this and pretend, kind of like I did with Chaoptrics, I'm going to do this and pretend like I didn't know what to do, even though I do. But, so yeah, let's get cooking. So basically, what I did going into this, now this is actually how I started going into this. I did research on the NFS mounting stuff again. I was reading through some like the Metasplittable 2 tutorials and how they're doing stuff, and I figured out that the reason that they're able to access the root stuff is because they have a certain like mount. I think it's like no squash root squash fs or something like that. I don't remember. I think I have it pulled up on Google in another tab. And also because your root, your ID, your user account is root. So if you're on Kali as root and you mount to that file system, it sees that you're UID 0 and group 0 and it's group 0, so it's just mounting that root directory so it knows. And so theoretically, if I can get the ID of the Vulnix user, I can write to the Vulnix home directory that's mounted on the share. So that's what we're going to try to do. So we're going to SSH in as the user at 192.168.1.62. I think I actually closed out of my VM, so let's reboot it. There we go. Let me in. Right. So ID of Vulnix. 2008. So I already knew to do this. Of course, like I said, I've already solved this. So basically, what I'm assuming here is that I'll be able to make a user with the ID of 2008 that's called Vulnix. In fact, I've already done that with my cheater self. I didn't cheat to solve this, just to be clear. I've done this already and I misrecorded. Just want to be completely clear about what I have cheated at and what I haven't cheated at. So I've cheated a little bit to get a foothold, but I did not cheat at all to get root. I did do some research and got tips about NFS mounting and stuff like that, but that was it. I figured out the Privest stuff by myself as well. So just to be clear, cheated at a little bit at getting the foothold. I didn't cheat at anything else. I've just already solved it. Not like you guys really care. You just want to see me solve it. So, let's see here. I've already created a user called Vulnix on my system, and it has the same group and permissions, or the same group and user ID as our Vulnix user here. So, if I mount what was it? Mount stnfs /192.168.1.62 // c in mount c in the /mount c home, and see now I can't see the end of Vulnix, but if I switch users to my new Vulnix user, Vulnix. Now I'm in. Right? That's super cool. I have full permissions. I did not have to know how to do this before that kind of trial run, and I thought that was like crazy awesome. So that works. You have a user with the same IDs. It sees, hey, you're that user. We're mounted on the share. You have that exact ID and permission. So the problem before is that the root user has group ID and UID 0. And the Vulnix user has group ID and user ID of 2008. So just make a user with the group and user ID 2008, and there you go. You're able to access the stuff on the share, and I can even make files. So I'm gonna need to do that SSH trip. At this point, this is the same vulnerability that's on the Metasploitable 2 box, which is really great because I'm familiar with this since I've read the walkthroughs. So we're gonna make a directory because we're missing some files, and we're going to touch authorized keys. Oops, remove authorized keys. Remove authorized. Touch authorized keys. Alright, anyway, so now we're going to copy. I already have a my Vulnix directory here that has my SSH key that I've made. So we're going to copy id rsa.pub into the mount home vulnix.sh. CD up. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Then we're cat id rsa.pub into the authorized keys. And cat authorized keys to make sure. Alright. So, if I were to actually try to SSH in now as the root user, it wouldn't work. This was my assumption. And that's because the root user's home directory doesn't have the correct SSH key. So even though I have that set up now, I can't just, boop-a-doop, hop over here. It's going to ask me for the password, right? If I do it from this shell as my Vulnix user, because that's where the SSH keys are coming from, hey, I am the Vulnix user on my victim. Alright, so what I always do now, I started doing this after I solved one of the hack the box machines. I can't say which because that would kind of give away a step. But basically, any of the hack the box machines that you're on, do this, sudo-l. This will tell you what sudo permissions your current user has. So your user may be in the sudoers file, and you may be the actual sudo anything. So if you've got the passwords, you've got root, essentially. But if you don't have the password, maybe there's a command they can run that doesn't need a password. In this case, we have the sudo edit command on this exports. So if we do sudo edit on etc exports, oh, I did a sudo. I don't have permission for sudo. I have permission for sudo edit. Alright, so we want the full root directory. We're basically going to turn this into the same vuln as Metasploitable 2, which makes this real easy. So this is how we're escalating. So no root squash. Yeah, I thought you had it pulled up. No root squash. Alright, so I'm going to write this file. Whoa. Write this file. So, the issue we have here now is that we can't restart the export fs service because we're not root. And so, what I did, this feels like kind of a cop-out, but I think it might be the intended solution. I don't know. I haven't looked at a walkthrough to the end yet to really know. But what I did, this feels really dirty, but since I technically have physical access to the machine, and I feel like this rebootuser.com is a hint. I don't think it actually is, but I'm gonna power off the machine and reboot it. And doing that would restart the export fs service and ultimately give me the ability to do what I need to do here. So here. I want nice clean terminals, please. Alright, so we're going to do... Make sure we unmount that. We're going to check out the... Show mount. Alright, there's our new export. Super cheater mode, but it worked, right? That's all that matters. So we're going to mount our... dude here. Alright, so now if I go to, there we go, and here we basically solved it. I should have access to everything, so I can cat this trophy. Oops. Cat this trophy.txt. There he is! I win! Woo! Root user. But I don't like this because I'm not on the box. The box is technically on me. I've mounted it to me. So let's get access as root. We can do that using the same exploit that we just did. The same, it's not really an exploit. That's bad wording. We can do this using the same, what would you call it? Bad misconfiguration. That's what this is misconfiguration. So if I touch the authorized keys again, and I do a copy from my root.ssh id rsa.pub to /mount root /ssh, and then I cat this into authorized keys. And now I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to SSH into root at 192.168.1.62. There we go. We are root. And of course, with root comes great responsibility, and we have our trophy showing that our responsibility is earned. So that's it. That's Vulnix. That feels really good. I'm glad I just kept coming back to it. I didn't take too many breaks. Took about an hour break and was like, man, I feel it. There's no way that I had everything I needed, right? I had my foothold on the box, and you know, I did achieve that with some help, but I found all the services. I knew I could mount with the NFS deal, and the Metasploitable 2 tutorial was just too eerily similar as a hint to what I could potentially do. So the way I understand how this works in terms of a puzzle is that the misconfiguration lies in the ability to get users. So there's not really... This box is not inherently insecure. It's got a weak password, right? Once you have a foothold, though, with that weak password, you can learn more about the box. And then you can exploit the NFS mount. Even though the NFS mount inherently worked fine. It was very secure. You couldn't do really anything with it. But if you have the user ID, you can. And I'm sure you could script that even if you really wanted to. That'd be a lot to script. Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it because you'd have to be exchanging, creating users. But technically, you know, that user ID was only 2008, and so if I made an iterative number of users with specific group and user IDs in like a script and just iterated and kept trying until I got a successful write, I could have done that and that would have worked, and that would have been a viable way to exploit that misconfiguration. But that'd be a lot of work. I feel like it would take a lot of time because of the operations, but I don't know. Who knows? I think that's scriptable for sure. Just to brute force it. But overall, the main misconfiguration lied in the foothold that you got, which wasn't really a misconfiguration. It was just a bad user password, which I guess in the world of pen testing, that's really all you need, right? So cool. We got root. Started with a bad user password. Did that cool. I think that NFS trick was really cool. I'm glad I learned that. I'm glad I'm aware of that. I think that'll go a long way. The fact that I could have a local user set their group set their group and their user ID to a specific user ID, and now I look like the same user on the mount. That's wiggity whack, I like that. That's cool. And then of course, like I said, the sudo thing. If I'm still logged in as a Vulnix user, I'm not. Oh well. Sudo-l, run it as soon as you get on the box. Run it, because if you have permissions to run something as root with no password, you have the potential to escalate the root. Anything that is touched by root potentially can be ran by root. So in this case, we just had the ability to edit a file, but it went a long way, because even though it's not a file that you can execute, it is a file that gives you access to root stuff if you do it right, because it's controlled by root, and you can write whatever kind of permissions you wanted to. So that was cool. Alright, so that's what we learned. We learned about Hydra. That's the first time I've ever gotten Hydra to work, so that was cool. Learned about Hydra brute forcing. So that's a very useful skill under my belt. Learned about NFS mounts. Learned about exploiting NFS mounts with the local user group dealio. And I learned about escalating with sudo-l, even though I kind of already knew that. Escalating with sudo-l was key, and then we did the same, basically just repeated the same process again to get actual root SSH login. And now I think I could like change password of root if I wanted to. I could password there we go. Now I completely own the machine. Lock them out. All they can do now is reboot and reformat. They're kind of screwed unless they have physical access, Cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a while since I've made a video like this, and I know the first two parts were kind of long, but managed to make the refilming of this a little bit shorter. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll be back with another OSCP Journey video in the near future. In the meantime, hopefully this keeps you held over. Thanks for watching. Thanks for going on this journey with me. I'm really learning a lot, and I'm hoping you guys can see my progress. Peace out.